Scotland is a small country facing a big decision. In September, Scots will go to the polls to decide if they want to become part of an independent country. Ahead of this historic vote, I travelled home and took a road trip across the country to find out how people are feeling. I began my journey at a symbolic site that will be familiar to fans of Braveheart.
In 1314, here at Bannockburn battlefield, Scotland won its most famous military victory against England. It's perhaps no coincidence that the referendum on Scottish independence will take place in the 700th anniversary of that battle. But for all the pre-modern pomp, in Scotland, a very modern nationalism is now emerging.
But how did we get here? Growing up in Scotland in the 80s and 90s, independence seemed fanciful. Nationalism seemed anti-English and xenophobic. The Scottish National Party, now led by First Minister Alex Salmond, was on the sidelines. In 1997, Scots voted for a devolved parliament. The ruling Labour Party thought that this had killed nationalism stone dead, in the words of George Robertson, one of its Scottish luminaries. He was wrong.
What we didn't realise was that there was other things happening in Scotland in terms of the public mood. They started to become more Scottish than British. They started to like the Parliament. They started to like things that were being done by the Parliament. But people are interested in their nationality, are interested in identity. But you know, for hundreds of years, unionist politics has been brought up. You can't have that. If it had been an ugly type of nationalism, like the Balkans, people would have retreated from it. But Salmond's nationalism is very inclusive.
In the 20th century, many nationalisms were based on ethnicity or language. Today, Scotland is different. I was struck by the sense that Scottishness is simply open to anyone who chooses to live here.
Well, I came to Scotland in 1986, and originally I was supposed to go into the Royal Air Force, so I was very much for Queen and country and the unions. And at that time, if anybody had said to me that so many years later, over 25 years later, that I would be backing Scottish independence, I would have thought they were mad. But it's been a gradual process. I chose to make this place my home, and I feel that I am more accepted here as a Pakistani from England who says that I am now Scottish. There doesn't seem to be that same sort of reaction of, no, but where are you really from?
Where are you really from is a question that Scottish artists are asking themselves. In works such as Glasgow Girls, the playwright Cora Bissett looks at how Scotland has changed culturally and demographically in the past decade. This has also informed her own views of belonging.
I'm kind of constantly asking myself, I don't think of myself in a kind of nostalgic, parochial, tartan way. I think of myself in a small country that is in a very vibrant artistic place right now, and a place where I think people are not scared to discuss big things. My God, we've got an opportunity to do things like they've never been done. All the things that we've hated since growing up through the 80s and the injustices that I saw my parents go through. Here is an opportunity to really grab it. Yes, we don't know the outcome, but wow, we've got a genuine opportunity to do things a different way.
For artists, like many Scots, the referendum has offered a chance to deconstruct Scottish identity. Ranton, a play by Kieran Hurley, affectionately describes Scotland in 2014 as a mongrel nation. It is part of a series of shows about identity organised by the National Theatre of Scotland.
In the show, there are multiple Scotlands at play, competing for attention, and that becomes part of what it's about, really. It becomes about the impossibility of any defining feature of a nation or nationhood, about the slipperiness of that, the way it always moves and shifts and means different things.
But many Scots are still worried about going it alone. Scotland's new nationalism is not the same as support for independence. The task before the SNP is to convince Scots that they can best express their new sense of belonging as part of an independent Scotland rather than as part of the United Kingdom.